The moment you find yourself on the ground, gasping for air, staring into the abyss of your own failure, that is the moment life demands your attention. The questions echo in your mind. Why me? How could this happen? What do I do now? These are the questions that haunt every person who has ever hit rock bottom. Yet, within them lies the key to your transformation, because every fall is the prelude to a rise, and every rise begins with a choice. Failure, by its very nature, is humbling. It forces you to confront the truth about who you are and where you stand. It strips away the illusions you built to protect yourself and lays bare the reality of your weaknesses. And while that exposure feels like destruction, it is actually creation in disguise. The great writer Ernest Hemingway once said, "The world breaks everyone, and afterward, many are strong at the broken places." Those broken places are where growth begins, but growth doesn't come without effort. It requires you to look at those fractures and say, I will rebuild. I will be stronger. I will not let this define me. Think about it. How many of history's most remarkable individuals have stories rooted in failure? Thomas Edison, the man whose inventions changed the world, famously remarked, "I have not failed. I've just found 1,0,0,0,0 ways that won't work." Imagine if Edison had stopped at the 10th failure or the 100th. We might still be living in darkness. Failure, you see, is a teacher, not a judge. It is not there to condemn you, but to educate you, to refine you, to make you into the person you were always meant to be. But here's the hard truth. The lessons failure teaches are not easy to learn. They demand something from you. They demand introspection, humility, and courage. When you fall, it's tempting to blame the world, to point fingers at circumstances or people, to say, it wasn't my fault, but growth only begins when you stop making excuses and start taking responsibility. Taking responsibility doesn't mean accepting blame for everything that went wrong. It means saying, I have a role to play in my own redemption. I have the power to change my story. When you embrace that responsibility, something extraordinary happens. You begin to see the fall not as a punishment, but as an opportunity. Pain becomes a catalyst for transformation. The writer C.S. Lewis once observed, hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. It is in the crucible of difficulty that character is forged. You don't build resilience by living a life free of challenges. You build it by facing adversity head on and refusing to let it break you. Consider the story of Nelson Mandela. After spending 27 years in prison for fighting against apartheid, Mandela could have emerged bitter and broken. He could have allowed his suffering to define him, to consume him. But instead, he chose to see his time in prison as preparation. He emerged not as a defeated man, but as a leader with the strength and wisdom to unite a fractured nation. Mandela's story is a testament to the power of perspective. What happens to you matters far less than how you choose to interpret it. The same is true for you. The fall you've experienced, as devastating as it may seem, is not the end of your story. It is a chapter, an important one, yes, but not the conclusion. And just as you wouldn't judge an entire book by one difficult chapter, you cannot judge your entire life by one failure. The fall is temporary. What defines you is what you do next. There's an old saying, fall 7 times, stand up 8. It's a simple idea, but it holds profound wisdom. Resilience is not about never falling. It's about always getting back up. And every time you rise after a fall, you rise a little stronger, a little wiser, and a little more prepared for the challenges ahead. The fall is what equips you for the climb. But let's be honest, it's not easy. Rising after a fall requires more than just determination. It requires faith. Faith in yourself, faith in the process, and faith in the idea that there is something greater waiting for you on the other side of your pain. You may not see it yet, you may not feel it, but it's there, waiting for you to claim it. Faith is the bridge that carries you from despair to hope, from failure to success. And as you walk that bridge, you will discover something remarkable about yourself. You will discover that you are capable of far more than you ever imagined. You will see that the strength you need is not something you have to find, it is already within you. The fall simply brings it to the surface. It is in those moments of greatest difficulty that your true character is revealed. As the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche said, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." So what will you do with your fall? Will you let it define you, or will you use it as a stepping stone to something greater? The choice is yours, and it is a choice you must make every single day, because the journey of rising after a fall is not a one-time event. It is a process, a commitment to growth and resilience and faith. And here's the beautiful irony. The harder the fall, the greater the potential for the rise. When you hit rock bottom, you have the opportunity to build something entirely new, something better than what came before. You are not starting over. You are starting from experience. As you take those first steps toward your comeback, remember this: you are not alone. Every person you admire, every hero you look up to, has faced their own falls. They have known despair and failure and heartbreak, but they chose to rise. And if they can do it, so can you. Let your fall be the turning point, the moment when everything changes. Let it be the fire that ignites your passion, the challenge that sharpens your resolve, the pain that deepens your wisdom. You have within you the strength to rise, the courage to rebuild, and the faith to believe that your greatest days are still ahead. Because they are, your story is not over. Your greatest comeback awaits, and it begins now. When you stand at the precipice, looking down at the vast chasm between where you are and where you want to be, it's easy to feel small. The distance between your current circumstances and your vision for the future can seem insurmountable. It's in these moments that you might question whether it's even worth trying to rise again. But I am here to tell you that your greatest comeback lies not just in surviving the fall, but in how you choose to rise after it. The secret to your transformation, to your ultimate success, is not found in avoiding hardship, but in embracing the struggle and choosing to continue despite the pain. Every obstacle, every setback, and every failure is a stepping stone, a piece of the puzzle that builds the person you are meant to become. Your comeback begins the moment you decide that you are not going to remain in defeat. It begins the moment you choose to stop letting your circumstances define you, and instead you decide to define yourself. It's about taking responsibility for your life, not as a victim of fate, but as a creator of your destiny. The American author Napoleon Hill once said, "What the mind of man can conceive and believe it can achieve." You must first believe in your ability to come back, to rise again, no matter how many times you've fallen. And you must keep that belief alive, even when it feels like the world is conspiring against you. The journey of recovery is often quiet. It's not the loud, dramatic moments that define it. Rather, it's in the daily decisions, the tiny actions that no one else sees, that true transformation occurs. The late Steve Jobs once said, "The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do." But it's not just about changing the world, it's about changing yourself. The process of your comeback starts with your decision to act, no matter how small the step. You don't need to have it all figured out, you just need to begin, because success is not a giant leap, but a series of small, consistent steps forward. When you face difficulty, it's easy to let fear take over. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of looking foolish. But what if I told you that those fears, the very things that paralyze you, are actually the signals that you're on the right path? The most successful people in history, those who have achieved greatness, didn't get there by avoiding fear. They got there by learning how to work with it, how to acknowledge it, and how to move forward despite it. As the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Your why, your purpose, is the foundation that keeps you moving forward. When you're clear about why you're doing something, the obstacles become mere challenges to overcome, not insurmountable walls. The first thing you need to understand about your comeback is that it will not be immediate. It will not happen overnight. Real change takes time, and in a world that values instant gratification, that can be one of the hardest lessons to learn. But let me assure you, the pain you feel today is not permanent. It is part of a process. The struggle you face is shaping you into the person you need to be. The discomfort you endure is preparing you for something greater. It is often the case that our most difficult moments moments are those that provide the greatest rewards in the end. The Bible speaks of perseverance in the book of James. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. This is where you will find your strength, in your ability to endure, to keep going when it feels like everything is falling apart. It is in the act of perseverance that you begin to discover your true potential. You will surprise yourself by what you're capable of when you refuse to quit. You will uncover strengths you never knew existed within you. Your comeback is not about avoiding pain or seeking comfort. It is about accepting the reality of where you are and choosing to rise anyway. It's about understanding that you have the power within you to overcome, to grow, and to become something greater than you ever thought possible. And make no mistake about it, the power to transform your life is within you right now. You do not need to wait for the perfect circumstances, the perfect timing, or the perfect moment. You are ready. There is no better time to begin than right now. But transformation requires more than just wishing for change. It requires action. It requires you to do the things that will push you out of your comfort zone, to do the things that scare you, and to do them consistently. The renowned motivational speaker Tony Robbins said, "The only limit to your impact is your imagination and commitment." If you can imagine a better future, and if you commit to the actions necessary to make it a reality, there is nothing that can stop you. Of course, there will be setbacks. You will encounter obstacles along the way. There will be days when you feel like giving up, when it feels like the world is too heavy. But those are the moments that matter the most. It is easy to remain motivated when things are going well, when success is within reach. But true character is revealed when things aren't going your way, when the weight of the world feels like it's on your shoulders. It is in these moments that you have to dig deep, that you have to remind yourself of why you're doing this. And when you do, you will find that your comeback is not just about getting back to where you were. It's about getting to a place you've never been before. Understand that your comeback is not just for you. Your journey, your transformation, your rise from the ashes will inspire others. The world is waiting for your story. The world is waiting for you to show them what is possible when you refuse to quit. As the author and motivational speaker Les Brown once said, "Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss it, you will land among the stars." Your comeback story will be your legacy. In the end, remember this. Your comeback is not just about overcoming adversity. It is about embracing your true potential and becoming the person you were always meant to be. Every challenge you face, every difficulty you overcome is a step towards the realization of that potential. And with each step, you become stronger, wiser, and more capable of achieving everything you've ever dreamed of. So don't just survive the fall. Embrace it, learn from it, and rise stronger than ever before. The world is waiting for your greatest comeback.